South Carolina went 4-8 last season with only one SEC win. Coming into the 2026 season, they've got a lot to prove. There's a lot to figure out. They have new offensive coordinators, a new offensive coordinator, new running backs coach, new defensive end coach. A lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of changes in the coaching staff, a lot of player changes as well. Coach Beamer has a lot to kind of correct after a really, really bad season when they had a lot of high expectations, when they had returners like LaNorris Sellers and Dylan Stewart, obviously. Um, so we're going to jump right into this. This is our Tavern Talk season preview of the South Carolina Gamecocks. We're going to break down what they're going to go through this season, what we think they're going to project like, where there are going to be some strengths, some weaknesses, and can the Gamecocks get above 6-7 wins after a horrendous 2025 season? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Um, so obviously last year the team was horrendous on offense. Mike Shula was the offensive coordinator, one of the worst offensive coordinators in the SEC, lowest rated offense in the Southeastern Conference all of last year. The play calling was abysmal all season long. Second and one, run up the middle. Third and one, run up the middle. Fourth and one, guess what? Let's run up the middle again. So they have South Carolina has a new offensive coordinator in Kendal Briles from TCU, which is more of a West Coast run and gun offense, spread you out. I don't think he's going to ask the offensive line to go up against Georgia and Alabama and go just manhandle it straight at the middle run on second and third and one. So hopefully the hire from Kendall Briles will bring some complexity and some simplicity to the offense. And what I mean by both is just do what you're good at. You take your 240 pound quarterback and you get him downhill, running over people, but while also getting your backs and your skill players on edges. You don't need to be running the ball up the middle versus teams that have better defensive lines than your offensive line. That's something what South Carolina struggled with last season. Their offensive line allowed over 40 sacks last season, which is one of the worst in the SEC. So let's kind of jump into what is going on with the Gamecocks as the 2026 season. They return about 68% of the contributors last year. 70% of the offense. They have LaNorris Sellers returning. They have um, LaNorris Sellers, Nyck Harbor, excuse me, as well as Jaden Sellers, Amazio Bennett, Matt Fuller, the running back. So they have a lot of the same guys. One of the things that really needs to be improved for the 2026 season is the offensive line is one of the worst in the country last year. Obviously, one of the worst in the SEC. That's something that you just you got to be able to run the football. In 2024, Lenore Sellers was a really good player because of their ability to run the football under that system that they had with Dowell Loggins in 2024. So Gamecocks need to get back to running the football effectively and just doing enough to allow Lenoris to be effective in the passing game. Because when he had to do it kind of all on his own, guys, he struggled. He was not a really good um, quarterback that had to make super quick, tough decisions in the passing game. So that's kind of something that we're gonna see how he improved in the offseason. And like I said, Mike Shula was one of the worst offensive coordinators in college football last year. Didn't help LaNorris Sellers out at all. Um, so I'm hoping that Kendall Briles can kind of coach up LaNorris Sellers and bring some good coaching points and kind of calm them down and just make simple reads, throw some slants, throw some fade balls to Nyck Harbor, throw some easy stop routes, get the screen game involved, and just get LaNorris comfortable and get him confident because when he's confident, he's really good. But towards the end of last season, you could see it in his eyes, in my opinion. He wasn't very confident and he struggled towards the end of the year. So let's kind of jump into what could happen for the Gamecocks in 2026. Their first couple of games are Kent State, Townsend, and Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State, the opening SEC game, is probably the most important game of the year, potentially. If you lose that game, in my opinion, it's going to be an extremely rough season. You have um, other teams on the schedule like Alabama. You have Georgia on the schedule. You have Texas A&M on the schedule. You have Clemson on the schedule. You cannot lose to Mississippi State in week 3. I think that is. That would be an absolute big loss just because it's a game that is a winnable. It's probably a 60-40, 50-50 game. You got to go out there and get that W versus Jeff Levy and the Bulldogs. So let's talk about what is going to go on for the Gamecocks as far as what they're going to be potentially good at, what they've improved upon, what our questions are for South Carolina. Number one, you have LaNorris Sellers back and Nyck Harbor back and Dylan Stewart, the big three. Um, all of them had opportunities on the table. LaNorris Sellers had more than about $6 to $7 million, even some people said $8 million to go to another school and play football. He turned it down. He wanted to stay in his home state, near friends and family, and near a system that he knew, near a coach that he knew. It seemed like, and when you could potentially leave, and it could potentially turn out bad. So I will say this: how Shane Beamer kept him there after going 4-8, I don't know how he did it, guys. No idea how he did it. I know he got a new deal, but these guys can make money anywhere and win football games. So the fact that he did it shows that Shane Beamer's good at convincing people. So let's see if he can convince some wins into this team in 2026. Like I just said, the Gamecocks return Nyck Harbor, LaNorris Sellers, and Dylan Stewart, the big three. Um, but the Gamecocks don't really have much outside of those three as of right now that we know about. So some of the names that we're going to have to really focus on is the running back room. If they're going to be good in 2026, they got to be able to run the football. You cannot be good in the SEC and not be able to run the football for more than 100 yards a game. If you don't run for more than 100 yards a game, it's going to be 4-8, 5-7, struggling to make a bowl game in 2026. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to create some opportunities to throw the ball down the field, which they struggled with last year. They were able to get the ball to Nyck Harbor some, but not nearly enough. They needed some more intermediate passing game in 2025. So those are the things that I'm going to be focusing on is who is going to help this Gamecocks team outside of LaNorris Sellers, outside of Nyck Harbor, and outside of Dylan Stewart. You have Matt Fuller in the running back room. You have Jaden Sellers in the receiving room. You have a couple of the freshmen from last year that were supposed to be really, really good players at a high school. Malik Clark. Um, you also have the uh, the big time kid from Columbia, Donovan Murph. There's also Mike Tyler, sophomore tight end. So there's some guys there that are young and unproven. South Carolina also got a transfer receiver, Nitro Tuggle, from Purdue, who is a slot guy, who's a speedster. So those are some of the guys that Lenore Sellers is going to have to be able to throw the ball to. But I'm really most curious about the system that's going to be in place by the offensive coordinator. Is he going to be able to actually call plays in an effective way? And when something doesn't work, is he going to be able to adjust? Because that's something that um, the previous offensive coordinator was absolutely horrendous at. He just kept doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Um, so we'll see how this goes for Kendal Briles. This will be a big year for him, and it'll be a huge year for Shane Beamer, who is one of the hottest coaches in the SEC on potentially finding another job um, after going 4-8 last season. Like we talked about, the I think I want to say the over unders like 5.5 um for the Gamecocks. Maybe it's 4.5. I need to double check on that. But I would take the over. Um I feel pretty good about South Carolina right now. Three reasons why. Three reasons why I feel good about South Carolina in 2026 compared to 2025. You got LaNorris Sellers back under another year of starting, getting used to the system, getting used to SEC football. He's going to have a better offensive coordinator. No one can be worse than what they had last year. So you automatically have a step up than with Kendal Briles. You have Dylan Stewart, who is going to be back um, for the South Carolina Gamecocks, and he's got a new defensive ends coach from Penn State, who's one of the best defensive end coaches in the country, in Dion Barnes. So that's really, really good. That's another reason I think Carolina will be better in 2026. And you have obviously Xavier, Nyck Harbor back for the Gamecocks, 6'5", can fly. He's got another year of football after kind of transferring from track. The big thing, like we said, is he going to have help in the receiver room? So those are three reasons I feel really good about South Carolina. I think their coaching staff is way better. Um, so that would be my third reason. Their coaching staff is a lot better in 2026 than it was in 2025. You've got the defensive end coach from Penn State, like we talked about. You've got the running backs coach from Penn State, Stan Drayton, that is a really good coach that's coached players like Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, who were running backs for Penn State, obviously. So the coaching staff in general is just a lot better. I feel a lot better about them, the roster, just the way it's going. And look, this is South Carolina. Whenever they're expected to be good, they're not. And when they're expected not to be good, they are good. So this happens over and over. Welcome to be a South Carolina fan. In 2022, they were really decent. They went 8-4, beat Clemson and Tennessee. Um, in 2022, came back with Spencer Rattler. In 2023, went 5-7. Then lost Spencer Rattler. Everybody was like, "Oh, who's going to play quarterback?" A lot of players left. A lot of players didn't know if LaNorris was going to be cut out for it. 2024, they go 9-3 and just barely missed the playoff. Everybody is like, "Oh, 2025 is the year. We got our quarterback back. We got some good pieces back." They go 4-8 and they just drop back to rock bottom, just like South Carolina football always does when you expect them to be good. Let's hope that 2026 is a rebound year. Let's hope that I do think they're going to be better. I mean, they're just better overall. The roster's better. The coaching staff's better. There's no way I would be. I mean, I actually would be floored if they went 4-8. Like, genuinely, they're not going to go 4-8. The real question is do they get above that 6-win mark? Because Shane Beamer's job is on the line. I mean, if he wins 6 games, I still think that South Carolina is going to have a decision to make. I think if Shane Beamer, I think the number he needs to get to is probably to feel comfortable. He needs to get to 8 wins to come back for 2027. I think if he gets to 7 wins, I think it'll kind of be a decision based on what the athletic director is thinking and kind of what how the season went, who they lost to, whether they blow some games, which they probably will, and how all that went down. So if Shane Beamer stays for 2027, I'm going to say he needs to win 8 football games in 2026 to return as the coach. We'll see how it goes. And let's jump into a little bit of like side news for the South Carolina Gamecocks. We're about to jump into the Nike deal that just dropped for South Carolina and stadium renovations that have been done at Williams-Brice Stadium. So let's jump into the Nike deal. South Carolina obviously has been with Under Armour for years now. Um, they switched over to Nike, and there has been a lot of just people talking about it. I think it's great. I mean, Under Armour is older. It just their products just not as good as Nike. I mean, that's just obvious. So I'm a fan. I'll get to wear better shirts, better quality hats, better. Um, I think a lot of the stuff is just better colors and better combinations and that type of thing. The uniform that they released for South Carolina for 2026, let's just say it'll probably be better in 2027 and 2028. I'm not saying I'm gonna hate it, but um, it's definitely not the best, but it could grow on me. I could see those Gamecocks and that Nike gear in actual gear on the in Williams-Brice Stadium first game of the year and be like, "Oh, I love it." You never know with pictures, but it doesn't look great on social media from what I've seen. But like I said, you never know until the Gamecocks throw the gear on and lace them up at Williams-Brice Stadium. So the real interesting thing is how much they're gonna. I mean, so obviously LaNorris Sellers, Dylan Stewart, and Nyck Harbor all got personal Nike NIL deals, so they're all gonna be um, with Nike, and I think this is a big deal, or I'd say it's a small deal for recruiting people. I mean, players and coaches just like Nike more um, than Under Armour. You could even say that Adidas is, I think Adidas is better than Under Armour. So this will be better from a revenue standpoint. I think that they'll make more money um, with selling gear that is better quality, better design, just a bigger brand that more people know. Um, and this will be a selling point for recruits in the NIL era that we're in. So that'll be an interesting thing to look at. Now let's head over to the renovations at Williams-Brice Stadium. They're You've probably seen it on social media. Williams-Brice is under renovation. They've done some work to the student side of the stadium. They've done some work to the home side of the stadium as well. Not as far as I know, a lot of the work is on the outer works of the football stadium, not like in the stands and stuff like that. The renovations are not going to affect the seating for this upcoming season, but will affect the season affect the seating in in the 2027's football season. So we'll have to watch that and see how that goes. And obviously, I mean, I'm a fan of it. I mean, bottom line is we've talked about it before, but South Carolina has to generate revenue to support all these players that they're paying, and they have to compete with the big dogs. Florida's renovating their stadium. Tennessee is renovating their stadium. You have to. They were one of the lowest um, teams in the country with VIP like suite seating. So they're fixing that. They're increasing the suites. They're increasing the VIP seating, which will obviously increase the revenue. They're going to put two video boards in the end zone of the opposite of the current video board. Obviously, they're going to be like in the two corners. So they're taking out some seats for those, which I'm not really a big fan of, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of the two video boards, so I'm gonna sacrifice it. I think it's worth it to get the two video boards and the two in the end zones. I think it's gonna turn out great. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at with the the renovations for Williams-Brice Stadium. I'll probably go up there in a couple weeks, before the season starts, maybe, or maybe when the season starts, and get some video of what it looks like and how it's going to be and how much it changes and all that type of stuff. But yeah, so that is my preview and breakdown of South Carolina for the 2026 football season, the good, the bad, what could go wrong, stadium renovations, and also obviously them signing with Nike. We're going to be having more of these Tavern Talk, previews with all the schools, all your favorite schools. We're going to do Clemson, we're going to do Georgia, we're going to do Alabama, we're going to do Ohio State, we're going to do all the big time schools that are in the top 25 ish. And I'm in the Greenville, South Carolina area. So we'll obviously touch on schools around this area like Clemson and Georgia and some of the schools that are just big in my area. Well, if you have any suggestions or want me to do your school, please let me know. Please, throw a comment out there. And thank you for watching this and keep tuning in.